Hello, and thank you for watching. My name is Bradford Roberts, principal broker, founder, and owner of TR Realty in the Las Vegas area. After watching this video, please be sure to like it as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download the pertinent handouts for this video by clicking the link in the comments below. Now let's get started. This video is entitled Class 4 Seller Excellence. This segment is entitled Listing Appointments. As I always say, success or failure with a listing begins at the listing appointment. This is where you sell yourself like a job interview. Don't underestimate your appearance. Don't underestimate promptness. It is critical that you are on time, not early, not late, but on time for this job interview that we call a listing appointment. If you went to your doctor and your doctor was wearing a clown suit, how would you feel about that? Would you take him seriously? So I guess appearance does matter then, huh? All agents have the same basic tools. So why would someone hire you? You better have an answer before you go on a listing appointment. If a seller says, why would I choose you over the guy down the street to list my property? And you say, well, I'm going to put your property in MLS. I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to put a lockbox on the front door. I'm going to put a sign in the yard. Come on, folks. It's like hiring a contractor because he has a hammer and a level. Give me a break. You're going to need a good answer. What is going to separate you from the competition? Sometimes the seller is going to ask you straight out, why would I choose you? You better have an answer. One of the things that is starting to catch on in some places like New York and LA and San Francisco is the strategy to create a little selfie video when you have a listing appointment scheduled. So in other words, you've somehow communicated with a prospective seller, you've talked on the phone, or you've texted or emailed each other or whatever, and now you're going to set up a listing appointment. One of the things that I mentioned is starting to catch on is just doing a little selfie video of yourself. Hi, my name is Bradford Roberts. I'm with TR Realty. I truly look forward to meeting you on Thursday at 2:30 p.m. At your property at 123 Elm Street. See you then. Just that. Free, quick, easy, but psychologically very powerful. Because now they know your voice, they see your face, your affectations, your mannerisms. So therefore, there's a comfort level when you come and you meet them in person. They feel that there's already some degree of knowing you. Psychologically, that's a big deal, okay? So I recommend that you think about that kind of technology. When you set a day and time for the listing appointment, make sure all owners and their spouses are present. We need all the owners and the spouses to sign the listing agreement anyway, don't we? So make sure that they are there. It's a total waste of time. If you know you need 2 people to sign your listing agreement, and you go out and you give the presentation to 1 person. Now you're relying on that person to turn around and do your presentation for you to the other person, or you're going to have to go back out and repeat yourself. Schedule a day and a time when all owners and spouses are present. And I want to mention again how important it is to have a spouse, even if that spouse is not on the deed. Nevada is a community property state. So we have to get that spouse on board with the process of selling the property. This is a job interview, folks. Before you go into someone's home, turn your phone to silent. Your phone should not be beeping and chirping all over the place when you're in the middle of a listing appointment. It is disrespectful, it's distracting, and it just doesn't show the owner that you're focused on him at all. Also, remove your shoes. Again, psychologically, it doesn't matter if the owner is wearing shoes, it's his house. You remove your shoes. It is a sign of respect, whether it's something that is consciously acknowledged or whether it's subliminal. It is a sign of respect. You're in someone's home, and you're going to respect that home. You're going to take care of that home. When you enter, I recommend that you don't just sit down. Sitting down is, kind of a way of getting to business, kind of a way of making it more formal. Let's start the process with a tour of the property. We want to look around anyway. We want to see exactly what property we're selling. We want to acquaint ourselves with the property. But when we're walking through the property and we've got our forms in a folder or a TR Realty binder or whatever, obviously we can't walk around and do contracts at the same time, right? So there's a more relaxed feeling with that. It's a time to get to know the house, but more importantly, it's a time to get to know your seller, to bond, to build some chemistry with your seller. And I recommend that you look for things around the house to use to bond. Try to understand the seller, try to get to know each other. I want to share with you the 3 most important things on a listing appointment. Trust, confidence, and chemistry. Write those down, folks. Trust, confidence, and chemistry. Getting them to like you is a paramount concern. We do business with those we like. Did you know that 50% of sales persuasion is not what you say at all, but it's how you say it? Your facial expressions, your body language, eye contact, not words. You must exude confidence. If they don't believe that you can do the job and do it really, really well and do it better than other agents, they're not going to hire you. They must believe in you. Your relationship with your seller is going to be long-term. Most of the time, we sign a listing agreement. It takes weeks, months in most cases, to actually find a buyer and close on a transaction. So that relationship better be good. It better be based on trust and respect. And if it is, then almost any hurdle can be overcome. But if your relationship with your seller is weak, then every time there's a hurdle, you risk ending or breaking that relationship. A lot of young agents come to me and they ask if TR Realty uses some kind of a script or something. Absolutely not. I don't believe in a script because what I say from my heart and my brain is going to come across very different than what you say from your heart and your brain. And I think reading someone else's words is ridiculous. If you're going to read my words, we don't need you at all, right? You need to come across in a sincere way to your customer. You have to bond, you have to use your words, so we don't do any kind of scripts. So what does a young agent do? If you've never been on a listing appointment, or not a lot of them, and you don't know what to say, let me give you an idea. I think this is fantastic. Obviously, you're acquainted with the form we use called Duties Owed. Here is an excellent listing appointment, in my opinion. You take a Duties Owed, you give a copy to the property owner, you have a copy for yourself. What I'd like you to do is read one line of the Duties Owed, stop, and explain in your own words, eye to eye, what that means for you. Honesty. Let me explain to you how I'm going to be honest with you. Fair dealing. Let me tell you what fair dealing means to me. And folks, if you were to go line by line through that Duties Owed, pausing after each line and explaining it in your own words, trust me, you would have one of the best listing appointments out there, even if this was your first time. That alone would make a fantastic impression on any seller. For those of you who are new, don't be afraid to say you're new. There's nothing wrong, and they can verify it anyway. So you can't lie. You wouldn't want to lie or misrepresent in any case. There's nothing wrong with being new. Tell them how important this listing would be to you, right? If the seller asked you, how many listings do you have right now? And you said, well, I have 14 listings right now. You know what this listing is going to be? 15. Not that big of a deal. But if you are honest and you say, I don't have any listings right now, and let me tell you why I want your listing. I will be able to give your listing my full undivided attention. This would be the first listing of my career. Therefore, my entire professional future is predicated upon the success I have with this one. Nothing would matter more, nothing would make me happier than to get this listing from you. Folks, that kind of strategy really, really works. And also, don't be afraid to say that you're partnering with your broker. Because of those of you watching this video who are affiliated with TR Realty, you know you have a different kind of broker. Here I am, available to help you, day or night, 7 days a week. You are partnering with your broker. So you might be new, but your broker's not, and I've got your back. Make the listing all about the seller, not about you anyway. You don't go on a job interview and sit there and tout yourself. You ask questions about the company. You express knowledge about the company that you'd like to work for. Well, when we go out on a listing appointment, we need to make it about the seller, what you're going to do for the seller, how you're going to help him achieve his real estate goals, not about you. If you sit there and you talk about, well, you sold 26 houses last year, and you're an ACBR and a GRI and a CRS and an ePro and an SFR, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about anyway. Make the listing appointment about the seller. Get to know your seller, ask questions, you get them to open up, explain their situation and their plans, discover their concerns and address them. I believe that we adapt to the customer and to the surroundings. You know, in my career, I've been on listing appointments that lasted 10 minutes. I've been on listing appointments that lasted 5 hours. You have no idea what you could be facing when you go out there. You have no idea who is going to be present in the home. You have no idea what kind of questions you might be peppered with. So you better learn to adapt to your customer and adapt to your surroundings. Be an expert, professional, and confident. Do your homework in advance. Know what you're talking about. And folks, one of the things that I found advantageous when I was selling real estate was not only would I do extensive homework and preparation before the meeting, but on my way to the actual meeting itself, I would drive by the comps. And that way I would have them fresh in my head. And if the seller said to me, wait a minute, you're recommending a listing price of $275, the house down the corner just sold for $290. I could say something like, yes, that's true, the house down the street did just sell for $290, but the kitchen has been upgraded. It has a 3-car garage, you have a 2-car garage. The landscaping is handled by a professional, and they gave $3,500 credit to the buyer at closing. Wow. Talk about knowing your stuff, coming across as professional. What can the seller say then? You are really letting the seller know that you are the professional for this job. I want to tell you the items that I think you should bring on a listing appointment. So get ready to write this down. Here are the items you should bring. Number 1, you should bring a camera or a phone that's charged and has lots of capability of taking pictures. I know that phones take excellent pictures today. I still believe in cameras, but we want to take good pictures. We don't want to get out there, we're in the middle of taking pictures and the battery dies and all that kind of thing. So if you're going to use your phone, that's fine, but we need to have something that takes photographs with us. Number 2, we need to bring what's called a laser distance measure. We should not be measuring rooms with a metal measuring tape that can scratch furniture and takes 2 people to measure a room. You can buy one at your local home improvement store, or you could buy it online, but a real estate professional should have a professional laser distance measure. You should bring a lockbox with you. Now, I think this should stay in your car because it can be scary to someone who hasn't made a decision. You show up and you're carrying a lockbox with you. Just keep it in your car in case they make a decision to hire us today. Number 4, you should have your Sentry app or your Sentry card, because that's how you open that lockbox. If you get a chance to install the lockbox today, you need to be able to open it, and that's how you open it. I also believe, number 5, that you should have a sign, a yard sign. This is also something you would want to keep in your car until such time as a decision is made to hire us. And along with that sign panel, you want to have a temporary frame as well, something that you can stick into the front yard in front of somebody's house. Those are the items, in addition to the paperwork, that I recommend you bring with you on a listing appointment. Now, when it comes to the pictures, you want to take lots and lots of pictures. You can sort through them later. We want to take as many as we can. It's better to do that rather than to have to go back. A couple of things I want to tell you about the pictures also. One is that you should not park in the driveway when you're on a listing appointment. Because if you park in the driveway, then your car is going to be in all of those exterior photos, right? Second thing, and this is kind of something that's coming around right now in our time. I'm not sure where this will go. There's talk at the association that at some point this might even turn into a violation, although it's not yet. But for purposes of liability, I recommend if the seller is taking something, don't feature it in the photo. Now, I'm not talking about personal property like furniture. But if the seller is taking, let's say, a chandelier that's hanging over the dining room table, that's attached, so that's real property, right? We probably don't want that in any photo. There could be concerns that that is misleading, false advertising, misrepresentation, that kind of thing. Also, we never want to show a picture of an open toilet. That is actually a violation now at the association, so don't do that. You take that laser distance measure and you get accurate measurements. Don't trust what you see the last time the house sold in MLS. Don't trust the tax records. You're responsible for what you put in MLS. Get your own accurate measurements. You need to get a key to the house. And in my opinion, before you put the key in the lockbox, you make a duplicate. Keys get lost. They get stolen. Keys can disappear being taken by agents who think they're clever. Somebody will go out and show the property and forget to put the key back in the lockbox because they want to write an offer and they don't want another agent to be able to show the property. So they will accidentally, on purpose, steal your key. Always have a duplicate key before you put a key in the lockbox. Now, we talked about the difference between the electronic lockboxes and the mechanical lockboxes. The Sentry electronic lockboxes will keep a record of everyone who goes in and out of that property, the date, the time, the name, their company affiliation, etc. We don't use mechanical lockboxes. And you don't need a mechanical lockbox for a vendor, let's say, anymore, because the Sentry lockbox has that touchpad on the home screen. The lockbox should go on the front door. The lockbox should not go on a tree branch in the backyard. It shouldn't go on the gas meter. It shouldn't go on the fence. Now, there are times that the physical structure of the door might prevent you from putting the lockbox, but in any case, you can't put it on a utility. Put it as close as possible. I know some agents like to hide the lockbox because they think it's an invitation for vandalism or for squatters, but we need to make the lockbox visible and convenient for other agents who wish to show the property. Put it on the front door whenever you can. You know, lockboxes might be going away as more and more homeowners get smart systems to eliminate keys from getting lost and stolen. They would be able to give limited access to real estate agents via that smart system. I want to mention something known as a real estate billboard. Not a billboard that you would see on the side of the highway, but a real estate billboard is actually a small piece of plastic. It's about this big or so, and it has a couple of holes that fit over the shackle of the lockbox. It has a clear adhesive front that you would lift, put your business card inside, seal it with that adhesive, and then that billboard actually hangs on the front of that lockbox. That is a great idea in a community that doesn't allow any signs. These only cost about $1 a piece. You can buy a package of them online. Go ahead and search for real estate billboards. For about $1, I think they are well worth it to display your card. Also in communities where there's lots of lockboxes, like a condo building as an example, sometimes you can't tell which lockbox belongs to which property. With your business card on the front of it, that would be very helpful. And speaking of signs, always make sure that a sign is actually allowed before you install one. There are a lot of CICs that regulate signs. Either they prohibit them altogether or they might regulate the size. I was looking at one just the other day that actually makes you have a sign in a certain color, even if it's not your company color. They require you to make a sign with a certain color. So we need to be cognizant of that so that we don't put the homeowner in a situation of getting a fine by that association. TR Realty has sign panels available for you to borrow at no cost. Of course, they don't have your specific name or contact information. You might want to think about making some riders that actually hang below the main sign panel. If the signs are lost or stolen, you do have to replace them for us, but those are available to you at no cost. I believe every sign that we install should have the capability of having flyers as part of that sign. So either a flyer box or what's called an info tube attached to the sign. We can put flyers in there, and especially in a community that's not gated, people will see that sign, they will go and they will take that flyer, and I think that's a great way to promote your property as well. You know, when you're out on a listing appointment, I know you want to get it. You're willing to do and say almost anything for that seller to sign that listing agreement for you today. But I want to caution you not to let a seller take away your basic tools. Folks, if you're sitting with a seller and the seller says, I don't want a lockbox, I don't want open houses, I don't want a sign in the front yard, everything that they're taking away from you, they're making it harder, and they're making the process slower to sell that property. And when that property is sitting on the market, it's going to be your fault. The seller is going to be gunning for you. So remember what I said, success or failure begins on the listing appointment. This is a perfect example of that. If the seller says, I don't want any open house, and you just say, oh, okay, I don't want a lockbox, oh, okay, rather than defend the ultra important tools that we use in real estate, this is going to come back to bite you. You're reducing your exposure, which is the opposite of what you've been hired to do. You want to increase exposure. And then you're going to be held accountable when the house does not sell. I would like to thank you for watching this video. I hope it was informative for you. If you are licensed with another brokerage in Southern Nevada and would like to talk with me, please text me or visit our website. See you next time.